Rodney, let's shift a little bit back to politics. I got a question for you. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago, Rodney?
In what way?
As a general, the political question, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? And how Americans answer that,
Dave. And I'll tell you, there's several things going on. Economically, I'm better off. My taxes are lower. I have seen the businesses that I deal with kind of spur along. I'm clearly in, this news business as well as the financial side. And so those businesses have done well over 4 years. I look at some larger changes around the world, and there's a lot of upheaval, but some things I think are good for progress. The Middle East deal is certainly one of them. But we have a lot of discord in the nation, and we have the polarization is continuing. And so I don't think that's good for us. And so in some ways, yes, but in some ways, no, I don't think I am.
Okay, well, I ask you that, Rodney. I do want to know how you're doing because I like and respect you. But this is something that Gallup has been polling for a number of years, and I found this surprising. And I'm going to share my screen with you here. So this is from Gallup, Rodney. Americans' views on whether they're better or worse off than 4 years ago. This is very surprising to me, Rodney. 56%. Those taken between September 14th and 28th of this year, say they're better off. This is higher than in 2012, 2004, 1992, in 1984, Rodney. More people now in the middle of, or maybe the end, during the end of a Trump presidency and during a global pandemic, more people, 56%, say that they're better off now than they were 4 years ago. I find this fascinating. And is there any insight to be gleaned from this, what this means for the election?
Not really, because normally polls like that, people think to their financial situation at home. Uh-huh. And so when you look at the finances, like I said, here we are with the highest amount of wealth that we've ever had in the nation, and it is lower taxes, and the market's going up. Unemployment was down around 3.5% at the beginning of the year. And so I realized that poll was just taken. I get that. But still, people had moved to a better place over 4 years. That was the question. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago?
Yeah.
And so while I think, people would say that's true, and if I ask somebody who does not support President Trump, is your family better off than they were 4 years ago? They might say yes. And if I ask, do you support the current administration? They're going to say no. And so I don't think people are equating those two like they have in the past. And so President Trump does get his highest marks on the economy. There's no question about it, but he still doesn't pull a majority. So I don't know what you do with that.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone curious, these are missing years, and these are highlighted the last 5 election years. So it's not the economy, stupid?
Well, not right at the moment, no. And so this actually brings up an interesting point, that we tend to focus on the thing going wrong, not the thing going right. And so while I don't think the economy is going right at the moment because of the pandemic and so many things going on, that's not what I'm talking about. But because we had made gains, because unemployment was low, without the pandemic, I believe that you would have President Trump, clearly holding up the economy and what he's done as an accomplishment, which you would think. But you would have other people saying, hey, look at all these other things, right? And because we do have the pandemic, that is going to be, I believe, one of the largest things about this election, and it has been. I mean, it's what Biden was talking about in the presidential debate, what Kamala Harris was talking about in the vice presidential debate. And so they're making the issue the current thing going wrong, which is exactly what you would expect. Interesting. Okay, good. I'm glad I got your take on that, because these numbers surprised me, and to me, I am curious to see what. Certainly, we're going to know within less than a month of who's going to win this thing, and it is interesting to see. I watch the polls and I look for different indicators. I assume this was a very strong indicator, but this may be a different set of circumstances this time around. Then, right? Exactly.
Great.